Hi, I'm Chris Stirewalt, and this is Power Play. What is round on both ends and high in the middle? Well, a monster truck. But no, the joke is Ohio. And Ohio held particular status, privileged status, as the mother of all swing states, really going back to 1992. And really, you could argue, always, because Republicans simply can't win the presidency without its trove of electoral votes. But this year, things looked different. As the rest of the country was moving and the race stayed competitive in other swing states where Hillary Clinton was pulling ahead, Donald Trump's lead looked durable in Ohio. Now that may be starting to change. Is that for real, and why? Who knows? I know who knows. Josh Crosshauer knows because he's a political editor for National Journal, so he better. Susan Ferricchio knows. She's the chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner and one of my favorite smart people. Okay, here's the thing, Josh. Ohio is loaded with white working class voters. And I mean, like how? And we certainly have seen in Nevada, and we've seen in Iowa, and we've seen in other states that have large demographic groups of these voters. These are Trump's voters. Blue-collar white voters are Trump's voters. So there was a theory that sort of, and you know how a theory is going to fall apart? I'll tell you exactly how. The New York Times will write up a definitive piece that Ohio's not Ohio anymore, and da-da-da-da-da, all the heads will nod. And then the next week, Ohio will be like, never mind.
Well, you know, the reality is when Trump lost ground in the national polls after the first debate, he's going to lose ground in the battleground states, including Ohio. So he's better positioned in Ohio than he is in states like North Carolina, Florida, Colorado. But he's still, you know, is at the mercy of the sort of the mood of the country.
The Internet would probably like to know what the state of play is. The state of play, using the most recent Monmouth poll in the state, Clinton is now up to a 2-point is holding a 2-point lead in Ohio, which is getting closer to the 4 points that she had back in August. And this comes at the same time, Susan, that Rob Portman is smoking Ted Strickland like a marsh-wheeling stogie.
And he's managed to cleave his race away from the national political presidential election. All politics is local, they say, and I think in Portman's case, he's sort of immune to any problems that may be associated down ballot.
And to be fair, Strickland is a stinky candidate. He is not doing a good job.
Right. So I think this race is sort of is separate from the presidential campaign. But just going back to the polls closing and what was a nice lead for Trump there, this just goes to what happened at the debate and the disastrous aftermath with the whole fight with Miss Universe and all that stuff. It's just throwing away your lead in Ohio. You know, I mean, when we go back and look at this race, if he does not prevail, this is going to be one of the key moments here when he's losing Ohio. Ohio is Trump country.
Should be.
And the Democrats lost it because of NAFTA, because of the economy, because of NAFTA. And Trump, this is why Sanders was doing so well there.
And global warming regulations.
Oh, exactly. And the regulations that have killed the energy sector there and causes prices go up. And
so, Josh, when we look at Ohio, one of the reasons that Trump seemed to be doing so well there and it was so appealing is that in the northeastern part of the state, this is places like Warren and Youngstown and that part of the state, and maybe even over to Toledo on the west side, but the northern tier of the state, a traditionally Democratic part of the state, looked like Trump had a lot of inroads there. That's where he can win, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, Eastern Ohio is now looking like Eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
You know, a very Democratic area 5-6 years ago, which has gone solidly Republican. And you're seeing Trump's base and the energy in Youngstown, in Mahoning County, and in a lot of those Rust Belt areas. The advantage for Clinton, though, is organization. And she needs to do well with young voters and college-educated voters in Columbus. Franklin County is going to be huge around Columbus, and then Cuyahoga and Cleveland. Like, if she can out-organize Trump, and she has a lot more staff, a lot more offices, a lot more people on the ground, if she can get that turnout from the 3 big cities, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, that's her path to victory.
And Columbus is one of the reasons we love Ohio, and it's so great, is because it acts like the rest of the country. So it's my running joke is I don't need to know anything else about the election except for how the women of Franklin County, Ohio, are going to vote. So what's going to happen?
Okay, if he wins Ohio, he can win the presidential election.
Yeah.
If he loses Ohio, well,
no, wait a minute.
I mean, there's other narrower paths for him, though. But
if he wins Iowa, if he wins Nevada, two states,
which is really, not a guaranteed.
No. Iowa's been, he's been.
Oh no, Nevada's not a guaranteed thing.
If he doesn't win Ohio, he's going to have to win one of the more diverse
Pennsylvania.
Colleges. He'd have to win Pennsylvania, Florida,
Virginia.
She really needs
Colorado.
Ohio.
So I just think I do agree with Susan. Ball game over if he doesn't.
So Ohio. So you guys both believe Ohio is still Ohio?
Ohio should be more favorable to Trump than your average state. So unless something really weird is going on in the wall, it's got to be a must-win state for Trump.
His path is so narrow. He can win in other ways, but it just becomes even more narrow if he doesn't win, to the point of just being almost impossible. He's got to win that state, and he was ahead 4 points. He can get it back if he starts working on the ground game and does well in these debates. But those are two big ifs.
Those are two big ifs. Well, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about the fact that we're grateful that you guys are here. We thank you. And you, Internet, we thank you, of course, for being the weird thing that you are, but also for stopping by. And we hope you come back for more Power Play real soon.